Sherry wanted to be here, but she's in Florida with a friend whose mother passed away. So, Ed, thank you, Rabbi, Ed, Jason, who's not here tonight, unfortunately, and Adam, for all your work coordinating these TTT gatherings, and thank you all for attending. Sherry and I recently had the opportunity to spend 5 weeks in Israel. We had plans to take this trip before October 7th. Once that fateful day occurred, I, like many of you, had various feelings about how to help, as well as feelings of helplessness. Being there now was not even a question. The question was, how and where can we make the best use of our time while in Israel? When we arrived in late November, we entered a different Israel. We felt it almost immediately. We had many experiences during our trip, more than I can cover tonight in 5 minutes. So tonight, the experience that I will share will hopefully give you a sense of the 180 degrees of emotions, from the pain and suffering to the sense of hope you feel when visiting Israel today. As part of our time there, I joined a tech mission made up of a group of 65 tech leaders and investors. The mission was even covered in some press, and I'm happy to share the full itinerary with anyone who wants to learn more. On a related note and a bit of marketing, they are running a second mission in February. If anyone's interested, I can share those details as well. We are both extremely grateful that we had this opportunity to visit, to help, to show up, and to just be there in the moment. The sense of gratitude from the Israelis is unbelievable too. I don't recall a meeting over the 4 days of the mission where the people speaking with us didn't express thanks and appreciation for our visit. This includes families of the hostages, soldiers, politicians, business executives, and others. If you're thinking about going to Israel, go. It makes a difference. The most impactful day experience for me was Monday afternoon, December 18th. We already had a jam-packed day, and it was the last set of meetings before dinner. We drove into kibbutz Shefayim, which is just north of Herzliya. The kibbutz is one of many places housing evacuees from the south. We entered a typical communal room where we met 3 families from Kfar Aza, a community that on the Gaza border that many of us now are familiar with for all the wrong reasons. 3 women shared their personal stories from that day. The room was silent, and you could feel the emotion in the air. Each woman has family who are being held hostage in Gaza. They shared information about each one, their age, their gender, and more about their family, what they enjoy doing, etc. Each of these women suffered on October 7th in many ways. They detailed their stories of locking themselves in safe rooms for 18 plus hours, not knowing if they would live or what would happen to their families and friends. In tears, they shared stories of their family members and the frustration with the UN, the Red Cross, and the various governments around the world who have not been able to help them. Well, this was a bit more than any of us were prepared to hear. The last woman broke down and had a hard time sharing her story, as she discussed that 63 of her friends and neighbors were killed that day. 63 people she cared about. 63 people who she then spent over a week simply going to funerals and shivas. It was uncomfortable to hear, but we all had to hear it and feel their pain. In contrast to this first experience, on the last day of the tech mission, we heard from Yisar Shai, a prominent venture capitalist and former Minister of Science and Technology. His son Yaron was killed on October 7th when he went down to defend Israel. We heard about how his son and other defenders were able to protect the kibbutz and how all the residents were saved, while also preventing significant damage to the kibbutz and surrounding areas. He wasn't in active duty, he wasn't called up. He, like many others, heard the news and went down to fight. The Shai family wanted to memorialize Yaron, and after discussing many options, they decided to launch nextoctober.org. The mission of this organization is to transform grief into progress by creating over 1,400 startups, each commemorating one of the brave souls lost on October 7th. Each startup chooses a specific person to commemorate. The idea is not to commemorate the victims, but also to foster, not only to commemorate the victims, but also to foster growth and progress in their memory. They are not just building companies, they are building legacies. Yisar explained, and this is not a direct quote, that Hamas's goal is to eliminate Western world values. They came to destroy us. We're going to come up with 1,400 companies, medical, agricultural, financial, etc. Israel's response is resilience, and we will build back stronger and grow the Israeli economy. This past October was bad. Next October will be better. The following even better. Israel and the Jewish people are resilient. Am Yisrael.
Amen.